our weekly Bhakti Vaibhav class. So last week uh, we were discussing that while King Prthu was performing the 100th sacrifice, Indra becoming insecure, feeling that Prthu Maharaj's fame will overpower his fame. He will become the performer of 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices, and he will get more fame and more name and respect, etc. Thinking like that, he stole the horse again and again, again and again. When the son of Prthu Maharaj, Vijitashva or Antardana, tried to chase after Indra to bring back the horse, Indra would wear the dress of a so-called religionist, and when the son is chasing after him, son of Prthu Maharaj chasing after him, he would leave behind the dress and leave behind the horse and go away. So looking at this entire event, the people who are not firmly fixed or firmly convinced about the teachings of the Vedic literatures thought that let us also do something like this. The king will never punish us because in this person is not punished by the king, and we also not be punished by doing such kind of things, wearing dressing like a sannyasi or sadhu, and doing all these disturbing things to the society, even and all, etc. So many of the people are becoming attracted to all these things. The king became impatient. So king thought that okay, my son is concerned about harming the so-called the religionistic person. This person is unnecessarily causing so much disruption in the society. I will destroy him one go. So like that, he got up, took up his bow and arrow. He is moving forward to kill Indra, the stealer of the entire horses, one of the horse, one after the other, trying to disturb again and again. So the Rutvijas, the Brahmana said that, my dear king, please do not get up. This sacrifice has to be completed. Till the time it completes, you are not supposed to leave this arena. At the same time, you are not supposed to kill anyone. Only the sacrificial animal is supposed to be killed. No one else is supposed to be killed. You don't have to do this. We, chanting some special mantras, we will call Indra and pull him into the fire of the yajna. You don't have to worry. We know the mantras to do that. Then king stayed back. Then the Ritvijas were about to chant the mantras. That is when Brahma came and stopped the Ritvijas. That was the discussion we were discussing. So this is the storyline which is happening in the front, in the forefront. So Prabhupada gives so many lessons about Indra being insecure and Indra being intolerant, envious at the fame of others, etc., etc. So on the other hand, the background story, which other acharyas also give a hint about it, saying that here Prthu is an expansion of the Supreme Lord. Indra is also an expansion of the Supreme Lord. Both are two different avatars of Supreme Lord. So Prthu is performing yajna after yajna for the prosperity of the citizens as a matter of duty. And Indra is doing it. Indra taking this as a good chance so that very soon the Dwapara Yuga can begin. So thinking that he is doing it, but externally he is acting as an intolerant person, etc. So even the Ritvijas are saying that no, we will call Indra and we'll put him in fire, we'll destroy him, something like that. So apparently seems that all these people are so selfish. Everyone is about selfish only. Prthu is after, I mean, of course, Prthu is religiously performing a sacrifice after sacrifice for the welfare of the people in general. And Indra is, for his namesake, is disturbing him. And the Brahmanas are so selfish. So apparently appears to be like that. But Acharya says it is not like that. They are simply enacting the nature of the material world. Whoever one may be, when one comes to the material world, when somebody is put into some position, one will be overcome by the position. That's how they tend to do sometimes the apparent mistakes. So that is in order to show us that all these personalities are enacting this entire event. So then Brahma comes He says that how can you call Indra, who is Yajna personified? Lord Vishnu is Yajna personified. He is the maintainer of the entire universe. He is maintaining the entire universe to the medium of Indra. So Indra is like the proxy of Vishnu. So Indra is also Yajna personified. Even in Bhagavad Gita, that verse, if you remember, Yajnartat karmano annyatra lokoyam karma bandhana, Yagnashishta shinashanto muchindaka sarvakil vishai. One of these two slokas, Prabhupada writes, Yajna refers to Indra as well as Lord Vishnu also. So in that way. So Indra is Yajna Purusha. So you are trying to kill Indra by calling him into Yajna. And Indra himself is the Yajna Purusha. How can you offer milk into a huge fire to stop the fire? How will that be possible? That will not be possible. Like that, Brahma is kind of indicating to the Ritujas. So you are, all of you are assembled here to worship Indra by the performing sacrifice, and you are trying to kill him. The Yajna person said, what is this? It is not possible. Then he says that till now, in order to stop the sacrifice, Indra already created so many disruptions, so many what you can heretic sampradayas. If you try to bring him down, he will continue to do the same thing. So instead of that, better stop the sacrifice. So like that, to that effect, Brahma is telling. So then somebody might ask question, what do you mean by that? Then Prthu should not continue under sacrifice. Then Brahma said that if you think that Prthu gets fame by the performing by the completion of 100 sacrifice, I will give you that fame with 99 only. I will give him that fame even with 99 only. Let Indra have the fame of performer of 100 sacrifices. Let Prthu have the fame of performer of 99 sacrifices. So if Brahma is asking the Ritujas, for what purpose this yajna is being performed? For the prosperity, it is already there enough. If required, I will give you more than more. I will give to the entire kingdom more than they can imagine. But yet Bhavan Moksha Dharma, with all of you people, you know that the path of perfection, the path of moksha. In spite of knowing the path of moksha, still you are attached to completion of some number. What is the use? So something like that. Even if you are all looking for moksha, then follow the path of moksha properly. No need to continue sacrifice so many. And if Prthu Maharaj is looking for moksha, he is already liberated. Why does he need any other things to attain moksha? So like that, Lord Brahma is trying to stop them by giving so many reasons. He will further continue to inspire. Having spoken to the priests, Brahma then addressed the king Prthu and said, these sacrifices are not necessary for you. Though you may be looking for the prosperity of the citizens, or you may be looking for the moksha. In either cases, there is no need of continuing the sacrifices. As per the requirement for a king that you already done, you are overdoing it. Stop. Enough is enough. You don't have to worry about completion of the sacrifice. Whatever you may be anticipating with the completion of the sacrifice, everything will be awarded to you without doing the sacrifice. So no need to worry about continuing. So like that, we discussed in the last week till this verse, and today we'll continue with verse number 33 onwards. नैवात्मने महेन्द्राय रोषम् आहर्तुमर्हसि उभौ अपि भद्रं ते उत्तमश्लोकविग्रहौ.
Lord Brahma continued, let there be good fortune to both of you, for you and King Indra are both part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you should not be angry with King Indra, who is not different from you.
Yeah, who is not different from Lord. Na eva Mahindraya rosham aharatu marahasi. You should not show anger towards Indra. Now Brahma is speaking to Prthu Maharaj. Naivatmane Mahindraya rosham aharatu marmasi. My dear Prthu, don't show anger towards Indra because Ubhav apihi Uttama Shloka Vigraho. Both of you are Uttama Shloka Vigraha. Both of you are different forms of Lord Vishnu himself. How can one form of Lord Vishnu become envious of other form of Lord Vishnu? Or angry? From Indra's point of view, how could Indra become angry with Prthu? Because both are Vishnu forms. And from Prthu's point of view, how can Prthu become angry with Indra? Both are Vishnu forms. Let there be auspiciousness to both of you. Ubhav apihi badram te. Let there be auspiciousness instead of miscommunication or something like that. So like that is saying, you should not show anger because it is non-different from you, since you are both avatars of the Lord. So Indra is kind of revealing their identity to each one of them. Then he further continues. Masmin Maharaj Kritasma Chintam Nishamayasmadvacha Adritatma Yadhyayato Daivahatam Nukartum Manotirustam Vishate Tamundam.
My dear king, do not be agitated and anxious because your sacrifices have not been properly executed due to providential impediments. Kindly take my words with great respect. We should always remember that if something happens by providential arrangement, we should not be very sorry. The more we try to rectify such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest region of materialistic thought.
So here Brahma is trying to say one thing. Don't think that everything is within our hand. Some things are in the hand of destiny. Though we may want to complete them, but destiny does not allow. So they will never be completed. So why you want to engage in the futile endeavor? Something like that. To that effect is saying, O king, being respectful, hearing my words, do not worry about the incomplete sacrifice. Prthu is determined to complete the 100 sacrifice. But Brahma is telling that it is not there in your destiny to complete 100. Why you want to do it? Because the angry mind of one who meditates on doing what is destroyed by fate enters into deepest illusion. Though it is not destined to be completed, if you determine to be completed, all your endeavors will be futile. So like that, Brahma is telling. So Prabhupada writes the same thing, explains in the purport very nicely. Although there may be sufficient cause for being unhappy when something is not completed properly, one should avoid counteracting such reversals. For the more we become implicated in rectifying such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest regions of material activity. You become overcome by that particular thought of completing it. So one may question that should we do it or not? If there is only one reversal, we should endeavor to do it. But there is reversal again and again. There are hundreds of hints which indicate that it's not supposed to be completed, then we should give it up. So that is understanding. That's what Prabhupada says. Otherwise, one is steeped into that thought of completing it, which is not supposed to be that way. So now Brahma is speaking to King Prthu, who is meditating on the completing of the sacrifice. Certainly, the mind of the person who meditates on doing what is destroyed by fate enters into deepest illusion. He does not attain peace. Such kind of person will never attain peace. He will never think properly. If destiny does not want me to do it, why should I endeavor so much. Let me be peaceful.
The repeated failures is something that we should understand that it is my destiny.
Something like that. Repeated failures or repeated disturbances is an indication that it is not in our destiny. Something like that.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, like I understood this point well, but it is also other way also it is said na that that I don't remember the exactly, but that king who sees the spider who was falling again and so many times he endeavored and he then succeeded ultimately. So um, sometimes it is also said that means we always say our endeavors and Lord's mercy. So what is the dividing line? Like how should we understand in practical situations that really
Palena parichayate. For what purpose one is doing that is important. For good one should do until death. Just like Prabhupada fought for Juhu temple.
Yeah.
But here you see, this is not don't take this one statement out of context. If Prthu wants to complete the sacrifice, what will be the result? He may complete, but what will happen? Side by side? No.
He will become Indra in the next
No. Indra becoming Indra is much later. Indra already created 10 apasampradayas. By the time it will complete, the 10 becomes 100.
Oh, okay, for that.
Is that okay?
No, it is not.
See the context. Don't take it out of context.
Okay, yeah, because that was a confusion because many times we in real life we come across such situations that sometimes some spiritual goals also we are trying to do, but there are so many difficulties, but then should we continue or give up, like thinking that okay, so many difficulties means the Lord doesn't want me to do that.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji, you mentioned that Prthu Maharaj and Indra both were devotees. And Prthu Maharaj
no, not devotees. Both were avatars of Supreme Lord here. Both are two different avatars of Supreme Lord.
Yes. So Prthu Maharaj was doing it for the welfare of the people. And you mentioned about Indra also. I didn't follow that. Indra was doing it so that Dwapar Yuga can begin. What does it mean?
Actually, we discussed about it in the last class. I mean, you were busy in traveling and all. So the whole thing is that we discussed about how and when Dwapar Yuga begins. In Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, the mode of goodness is prominent. People are convinced about what is dharma, what is adharma. In Dwapar Yuga, people are predominantly in the mode of passion. People are doubtful about what is dharma, what is adharma, what to do, what not to do. In the Kali Yuga, the mode of ignorance is prominent. Here also people are firmly convinced dharma to be adharma, adharma to be dharma. So currently the events are happening in Treta Yuga.
Yes.
So very soon Dwapar Yuga is supposed to start. So Indra took the responsibility upon himself to provide the proper facilities so that Dwapar Yuga will start. So by stealing that horse, Indra is creating a different apasampradaya. The people who are firmly convinced what is dharma, what is adharma, they are never bewildered by such kind of apasampradayas. But people somewhat doubtful about what exactly dharma, what is not dharma, such kind of people will take up these apasampradayas.
Okay.
By them taking up such apasampradayas, eventually Dwapar Yuga will begin. So Indra is actually preparing the necessary circumstances for Dwapar Yuga to begin. So that is how we have discussed in the previous class.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
So because both of them have different intentions, and the other way, though Prthu was performing all these yajnas for the prosperity of the people, but people are already over prosperous. There was no need of super overflow of prosperity. Brahma says, if you want that, I will give that, but stop the sacrifice. So Dwapar Yuga is supposed to start, it will start. Anyway, by the will of the providence, it will start. Why you want to start right now? So don't disrupt. At least while Prthu is there, let the kingdom be peaceful. Let the people follow Dharma. So right now only there are 100 options. If only one or two options, only few people get attracted. If there are 100 options, 100 people get attracted. The more people get what you can say in inclination or they get inspired to follow such kind of apsanas. So keeping that in mind, Brahma is saying no, enough is enough. बहुत हो गया, stop कर दो. So like that. That is the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Praturviramatam esha deveshu duravagraha dharma vyatikaro yatra pakandair indra nirmitai.
Lord Brahma continued, stop the performance of these sacrifices, for they have induced Indra to introduce so many irreligious aspects. You should know very well that even amongst the demigods, there are many unwanted desires.
Yeah. Let this sacrifice be stopped. Kratur viramatam. Take viram from performing this sacrifice. Because in this sacrifice, among the devatas, Indra, who was stubborn, who became stubborn, and Dharma has been destroyed by heretics. Pakandair Dharma Vyatikara. Till now, Dharma was everywhere. But now, because of this 100 sacrifice, the seed for adharma are getting sown. Till now, 10 seeds are already sown. If you don't stop it, the 10 become 100. Because Indra has become stubborn. He is determined to begin the religion. So that Dwapara Yuga will begin very soon. Which is unspoken in these verses, but that is the thing. So somebody might ask, why Brahmaji are you stopping us? Why don't you stop Indra? That could be one of the question. So for that he's telling that among the devatas, Indra is very stubborn. So we cannot stop Indra. So you should stop. You please stop. So something like that. So this is how Brahma is trying to inspire Prthu to stop there, so that Dwapara Yuga will not begin instantly. Let some more time, let Treta Yuga continue, then eventually will begin. So in that way, not disrupt the society's norms immediately. So in that way.
That means, Prabhuji, means even in the spiritual world also same thing happens. Like means this is not completely spiritual world, but like those who are understanding people, they are usually told to take the charge to make the situation stabilize. And those who are not, like here we are saying Indra is stubborn or something, so they get away with their kind of nature, so they cannot be changed, so let them.
Yes, yes, that is also one thing. Prabhupada writes about there are many competitors in ordinary business affairs, and the Karmakanda chapter of the Vedas sometimes cause competition and envy among karmis. A karmi must be envious because he wishes to enjoy material pleasures to their fullest extent. That is the material desire. Lord Brahma's purpose was to end the competition between Lord Indra and Maharaj Prthu. Because Maharaj Prthu was a great devotee and incarnation of God, he was requested to stop the sacrifice so that Indra might not further introduce irreligious systems which are always followed by criminal minded people. So in that way. Ebir Indropa Samsrushtair Pakandair Haribirjanam Hriyamanam Vichakshvainam Yaste Yagnadrug Asaumut Ashwin.
Just see how Indra, the king of heaven, was creating a disturbance in the midst of the sacrifice by stealing the sacrificial horse. These attractive sinful activities he has introduced will be carried out by the people in general.
Yeah. See, the people carried away by the attractive heretics. AB Haribi Pakandar. Haribi means Lord Hari, he who steals away everything. The people's intelligence was stolen away by these heretics created by Indra. People are getting attracted to all these different variety of heretics created by Indra. Who was stealing your hearts and trying to disturb your sacrifice. Better you stop, so that Indra will not create more and more upsampradayas and more people getting influenced by it immediately. At least let there be the mode of goodness prevail for some more time. Eventually, when time comes, Dwapara will let it begin on its own, something like that. So that is the intention. This shows the disturbance created by Indra's stubbornness. Haribi means by those who are attractive. Indra stole the horse and that created obstacles to the sacrifice. So, in that way. So, there is a purport by Prabhupada. Prabhupada actually quotes a verse from Bhagavad Gita, Idit acharati shreshtatadeva itarojana, tayat pramanam kurute lokatadvartate. Whatever a great person does, common people follow. Here Indra is the leader. So, whatever Indra does, common people will follow. So, don't give him a facility to do like this. So that common will not follow him. If you continue the performance of sacrifice, Indra might do again and again same thing. So that is not at all good for common people. So please stop. Don't continue the horse sacrifice. Because Indra is taking the false disguise of sannyasi again and again. So people consider this, so this is very nice, very prospective approach. They become attracted to it. They will take up such kind of irreligious means of sannyas and they create violence, disharmony all over the universe. So in that way, so that's why Srila Prabhupada gives at the end of the first paragraph in the last line, Prabhupada says that therefore one should not perform sacrifices that will induce reverse order. It is better to stop such sacrifices. One's intention may be good, but if the result is going against the principles of dharma, one should not continue it. So that is the understanding which the Prabhupada tries to bring out from this particular section. So then Prabhupada quotes that, but anyway, though Prthu Maharaj performing so many yajnas during Treta Yuga, but the yajna which is meant for Kali Yuga is Harinam yajna. One should perform Harinam yajna. So in Harinam yajna, there is no way that somebody can steal something. There is nothing to steal. Personality like Indra will never become envious of somebody who is performing Harinam yajna, and they will not steal anything. So Harinam yajna is the best form of yajna. So one should perform in the age of Kali. So that is how it is mentioned here. Even Prabhupada also talks about Kali. He is talking about Calcutta. People in Kali Yuga, they worship Mother Kali, offering meat, etc. But in Jagannath Puri, the same Kali stays as Vimala Devi. She will be offered Jagannath Mahaprasad. She actually likes Mahaprasad of Lord Vishnu. She does not like meat, fish, eggs and all the non-vegetarian items. So whatever is offered in the name of Kali is actually eaten by Bhuta, Preta, Pichashas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, who are the associates of Lord Shiva and Parvati. Only they will accept all these non-vegetarian items which are offered to either Lord Shiva or Mother Durga. They will not accept. They only want to accept Krishna Prasad, Prasad of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. So that is the understanding. Actually, when people go to Kali temple and offer some meat and all, then they say this is Kali Prasad. It is actually not Kali Prasada. Instead, it is Bhuta Preta Pichach Prasad. It is there in the Vedic literature only. If at all somebody who cannot control their tongue, if they want to eat meat, they should actually select a black sheep or black or completely black sheep or completely black goat in the night of Amavasya without seen by anybody. Go to the temple of Durga Devi, offer it to Kali, divide into seven parts, offer 6 parts in charity. The 7th part one should eat, and that too not general procedure. One should kill the goat with one's own hand, chanting some mantras. The mantras are mentioned somewhere in the 11th canto commentary. The mantra meaning is, in this life, I am not able to control my tongue. I will eat your flesh. In the next life, you eat my flesh. Giving that promise, making that promise, one should kill that animal, offer it to Kali, then give 6 parts in charity. The 7th part should be cooked by their own hands. Then they should honor it. Not honor, they should accept it before sun rises. Everything should happen in the Amavasya night. It should not be seen by the Devatas also. Because Amavasya night, even moon is not there. Everything is dark. No one will see. So from like that, it is considered. That allowance is given only for that day. But now, so things are entirely different. So this purport you can use, note down the purport number. If somebody asks anybody, if you encounter somebody, why not eat meat and all these things, this purport can be shown. It is not Kali Prasad. It is Bhuta Preta Pichasa Prasad. It is not even Prasad. It is the food left by the Bhutas and Pretas. Like that we can inform people. And Brahma further continues. Bhavan paritra tumihavatirno dharmam jananam samayanurupam venapachara davalupta madhya taddehato Vishnu kalasi vainya.
O King Prthu, son of Vena, you are the part and parcel expansion of Lord Vishnu. Due to the mischievous activities of King Vena, religious principles were almost lost. At the opportune moment, you descended as the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Indeed, for the protection of religious principles, you have appeared from the body of King Vena.
O Prthu, you appeared in this world from Vena's body as a portion of the Lord to deliver Dharma. Dharmam paritratum. Taking this word paritratum, Prabhupada quotes the word, quotes the Bhagavad Gita verse, paritranaya sadhuna vinasya dushtam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuga yuge. The Lord appears again and again for the purpose of establishing the religious principles. Prthu Maharaj also appeared for the purpose of establishing religious principles. By performing 100 sacrifice, he is causing the spread of adharma. But he came to spread dharma. Should we perform or not? That is what Brahma is logically trying to help him understand. So you appear to deliver dharma suitable at this time for the people which has become lost due to Vena's misdeeds. Because of Vena, because of his religious behavior, the dharma has been lost completely. You appear to reinstate the principles of dharma. But what are you doing? In order to perform the 100th one, you are again causing so much dharma. You yourself are not causing, but this 100 sacrifice is a cause of 100 adharmas, so many adharmas. So stop this. So in that way, you should spread dharma, not adharma, which will occur if Indra obstructs more sacrifices. If you continue to perform this 100th one and more, Indra will create more and more adharmas. That is not the purpose with which you appeared in this world. So Bhagavad Gita 18:30 says that the intelligence of Sattva-guna understands the difference between dharma and adharma. What should be done and what should not be done. What is to be feared and what is not feared. And difference between bondage and liberation. Only people in the mode of goodness will understand what is to be done and what is not to be done. But unfortunately, everyone may not be in the mode of goodness. There could be some people in the assembly, mode of passion, mode of ignorance also. They will be attracted to what is created by Indra. So their life will be spoiled. You have come here to facilitate the spiritual progress of the people in general. This is the responsibility of the king. But by allowing Indra to spread adharmas, you are actually destroying the opportunity of the people to advance spiritually. So, like that, the various reasons Brahma is giving so that Prthu will desist from performing the sacrifice. So, in the purport, Prabhupada writes, all these personalities are called Shakti Avesh Avataras. The Shakti Avesh Avataras are empowered by Lord Vishnu in order to spread the principles of Dharma. So, like that, in Kali Yuga also, there are many Acharyas appear as Shakti Avesh Avatara. They are empowered by the Supreme Lord to spread the Yuga Dharma. Harinam Sankirtan or Krishna Bhakti, Vishnu Bhakti. So that is the role of different Shakti Avesh avatars of the Supreme Lord. So in that way. So such kind of Shakti Avesh avatars are supposed to be respected, supposed to be accepted as one's own master. They are not supposed to be criticized. Such kind of criticism causes one's own spiritual fall down. So like that, various points Srila Prabhupada touches upon in the purport. Brahma continues. Sattvam vrimushtasya bhavam prajapate sankalpanam vishvasrujam pipiprihi aindrim chamayam upadharma mataram prachanda pakanda patam prabhojahi.
O protector of the people in general, please consider the purpose of your being incarnated by Lord Vishnu. The irreligious principles created by Indra are but mothers of so many unwanted religions. Please therefore stop these imitations immediately.
Yeah. He is reminding the duty of Prthu Maharaj as the king. Brahma is reminding that. Prajapate, O master of the people, you are the lord of your citizens. You cannot create unfavorable facilities for the people so that they will be stay away from the religious principles. So in that way, considering the auspiciousness of the world, complete the vow of progenitors and destroy the illusion created by Indra, which generates imitation dharma. Upadharma matram. Whatever Indra is creating is only imitation dharma. It appears to be dharma, but it is not dharma. It is actually adharma. The path of the formidable heretics. Pachanda, pakanda patam. Prachanda pakanda patam. So it is irresistible adharma. Once adharma spreads, it cannot be stopped just like that. It is irresistible. It expands like wildfire. So don't expand such kind of wildfire like adharma. You have come to spread dharma. So for the sake of dharma, you stop this useless, unnecessary sacrifice, which actually spreads adharma. So like that, Brahma is requesting Prthu to stop there itself, no need to continue further. And Prabhupada actually writes about this particular aspect in the entire purport. It is the duty of the king or statesman or the politician to stop adharmic activities and to spread principles of dharma. That is the principle and primemost duty of the leader or king or politician, etc. etc. So Lord Brahma requested Prthu Maharaj to desist from his unnecessary competition with Indra, who was determined to stop Prthu Maharaj from completing the 100 yajnas. Instead of creating adverse situations, adverse reactions, It was better for Maharaj Prthu to stop the yajna in the interest of his original purpose as an incarnation. This purpose was to establish good government and set things in the right order. You appear to come here, you have come here to spread dharma, but by this sacrifice you are spreading adharma. It is not at all good. It is against to your purpose of appearance. So like that, Lord Brahma is kind of requesting Prthu to stop there itself. O master of the progeny, thinking of the auspiciousness of the people, the progenitors created you by churning the arm of Vena, fulfill their desire. The great sages, for the benefit of the society in general, they churned the hands of the dead body of Vena and produced you. And you are causing adharma. What is this? Not good. So in that way. This path of formidable heretics created by Indra produces Upadharma, so-called materialistic dharma. It is called Upadharma because it is confusing. People cannot get correct idea whether it is dharma or not, as mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita verse. The intelligence is of Rajoguna, which does not understand correctly what is dharma and what is adharma, and what is to be done as a duty and what is not to be done as a duty. So in that way. Ya dharma madharmancha karyam chakaryam eva ayatavat prajanati buddhi sa partha rajasi. So people in the mode of passion or ignorance, they are doubtful about what to do, what not to do. So by creating such kind of more and more heretics, because they are in popular number, so people consider because these are dharma, they will take up such kind of adharmic teachings, something like that. So these are various reasons which Brahma is speaking to stop Prthu Maharaj to continue the sacrifice. Then Brahma stops. I haven't said all these things. My dear Prthu, you appear to spread dharma, but because of you, adharma is spreading. Is it right? Is it what you want to do? Like that, Brahma is questioning Prthu. Now, what did Prthu do? What is the response of Prthu? Ittam sa loka guruna samadhishto vishampati tata cha kritva vastalyam mago napi cha sandade.
The great sage Maitreya continued. When King Prthu was thus advised by the supreme teacher, Lord Brahma, he abandoned his eagerness to perform yajnas and with great affection concluded a peace with King Indra.
Maitreya is saying now, instructed thus by the Guru of the entire universe, Loka Guruna, King Prthu made peace with Indra, showing him affection. Vastalyam Krutva. Prthu began to show affection to Indra and made friendship with Indra. Basically gave up anger towards Indra. According to the instruction of Brahma, King Prthu showed affection to Indra. Though Indra was elder and was the king of the Devatas, by the order of Brahma, Prthu showed affection and made peace with Indra. Generally, affection will come from the elder to younger. But here, affection is coming from the younger to elder. Indra is elder. He was there from the beginning of the Manvantara. Prthu recently born. So, they were equal since they both were Vishnu Tattva. But Brahma saw that King Prthu was superior because of his superior bhakti and thus instructed him to show affection to Indra. So among the Prthu and Indra, so Prthu is considered superior in terms of bhakti. So Indra requests Prthu to show forgiveness and also affection towards Indra. कृतावभृतस्नानाय पृतवे भूरि कर्मणे वरान् ददुस्ते वरदा एतद्बर्हिषि तर्पिता.
After this, Prthu Maharaj took his bath, which is customarily taken after the performance of a yajna. and received the benedictions and due blessings of the demigods, who were very pleased by his glorious activities.
Yeah. The bestower of benedictions, Varada. Here Brahma is called as bestower of benedictions. So he already promised, I will give you all the blessings, whatever you want, but stop this sacrifice. So pleased with the sacrifice, gave blessings to Prthu, the performer of great acts, after he had taken his avabrata bath. After forgiving Indra, after making friends with Indra, after showing affection towards Indra, Prthu Maharaj stopped the sacrifice itself and took the bath, the closing bath. Then Brahma blessed him with lot of affection. Because he followed the instructions of Brahma completely, Lord Brahma pleased to the core of his heart. Something like that we can think of. Viprat satyatushta Shraddhaya labda dakshina Ashisho yuju kshattar Adi Rajaya Satkrita.
With great respect, the original king Prthu offered all kinds of rewards to the Brahmanas present at the sacrifice. Since all these Brahmanas were very much satisfied, they gave their heartfelt blessings to the king.
Oh Vidura, the Brahmanas whose blessings come true, Satya Ashisha, and who were satisfied, having been worshipped and given donations with faith, gave blessings to the original king, Adi Rajaya. So basically, he took Avabrata Snana, he came forward and offered obeisance to Brahma. Brahma gave blessings to Prthu Maharaj. Then he gave charities to all assembled there to perform the yajna. Though the yajna is not complete, but Prthu gave them the dakshina, whatever is supposed to be given. And all the Brahmanas were very much satisfied with him, and they also blessed him. May you, whatever, may you live long or whatever. Tvaya hota mahabaho sarva eva samagata pujita danamanabhyam pitrudevarshi manava.
All the great
All the-
sages and okay, Mataji, continue.
Mataji, continue. All the great sages and Brahmanas said, O mighty king, by your invitation, all classes of living entities have attended this assembly. They have come from Pitrulok and the heavenly planets, and great sages as well as common men have attended this meeting. Now all of them are very much satisfied by your dealings and your charity towards them.
Yeah. So here the Brahmanas are saying, being happy with the gifts given by the king. O mighty armed king, all these who have assembled, the Pitrus, sages among the Devatas and men, called by you, have been worshipped with charity and respect. My dear King Prthu, all of us, in that sense, all of the people assembled there, everyone got satisfied with the King Prthu's charitable disposition. They basically express that though sacrifice is not completed, if it is not completed, Brahmanas might feel dissatisfied. But now they are completely satisfied because King Prthu following the instructions of Lord Brahma. So in that way, though the sacrifice is not completed, they are all happy. So this shows that by not performing the sacrifice, Prthu made everyone happy. One side Brahma became happy, other side Indra also became happy. On this side, all the devatas, I mean all the sages and brahmanas who assembled there, they also became happy. So what else one need than this? So that's how the chapter is completed. Any questions? Hare Krishna, any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
No problem. Thank you.
So we'll continue with the next chapter. So when everyone is satisfied, there comes Lord Vishnu. Previously, at the end of the sacrifice, Lord Vishnu used to come. But now, even though sacrifice is not completed, but everyone is satisfied, Lord Vishnu came suddenly. That is the top theme of this entire chapter. In the 20th chapter, after being instructed by the Supreme Lord, Maharaj Prthu makes friends with Indra and praises the Lord. The Lord gives him benedictions and then departs. This is the top subject of the next chapter. So here there are 38 verses in the entire chapter. Lord Vishnu appears and gives a nice instructions unto King Prthu. Then King Prthu makes friends with Indra by embracing him. So seeing that Lord Vishnu stays back some more time, then Prthu Maharaj offers prayers unto Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Vishnu blesses Prthu and then departs. So here there are two sections. One section is Lord Vishnu instructs Prthu and King Prthu offers prayers unto Lord Vishnu. These are the two important sections consisting of so many philosophical teachings. Maitreya Uvacha Bhagavanapi Vaikunta Sakam Magavata Vibhu Yajnapatis Tushto Yajna Bhuktam Avasata.
The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, being very much satisfied by the performance of 99 horse sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, appeared on the scene. Accompanying him was King Indra. Lord Vishnu then began to speak.
Yeah. So it seems that, of course, Indra is not there. Indra disappeared, na? Prthu Maharaj wanted to chase after Indra and kill him. So Indra was not in the previous scene. Only Brahma was speaking and Prthu Maharaj removed whatever anger he had towards Indra. That is removed. So till now Indra is not at all there in that scene. Brahma alone came to stop the Brahmanas and then to stop the Brahmanas actually. So now Lord Vishnu arrived there along with Indra. Sakam Magavata Vibhu appeared along with Indra. Then he begins to speak to King Prthu. The Lord, bringing his portion Indra, has Prthu make peace with Indra and then gives instructions. Now Lord Vishnu speaks. These are 15 verses, very philosophical. So today we'll be discussing them. Kindly follow. Eshate karshid bhagnam. Sorry. Eshate karshid bhangam hayameda shatasya Shamaapayata Atmanam Amusya Shantumarhasi.
Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, My dear King Prthu, Indra, the King of Heaven, has disturbed your execution of 100 sacrifices. Now he has come with me to be forgiven by you. Therefore, excuse him.
Yeah. So here Lord Vishnu is saying that, my dear King Prthu, here is Indra who tried to stop your 100 sacrifice. You should forgive Indra since he has come here to beg forgiveness from you. So what is that past time? I think the Govardhan Lila. When Indra pours down torrents of rains, Lord Krishna left the Govardhan hill, then everyone is protected. Indra realizes I am playing with fire. Then he goes to Brahma. He requests Brahma to do something, mediation. Brahma says, no, I also burnt my fingers last time when I went there to test Krishna. Now I cannot do anything. Only Surabhi cow will do needful. So Indra goes to Surabhi cow. Surabhi cow takes Indra along with him to Krishna and first performs Abhishek of Lord Krishna, then tells Krishna, my dear Krishna, see Indra is there. standing and bent with bent head out of shame. Please forgive him. He did not do anything intentionally, but it happened out of spur of the moment. Just like Surbiko requested on behalf of Indra unto Lord Krishna. Like that, here Brahma requesting, sorry, Lord Vishnu himself requesting Prthu Maharaj to forgive Indra. So something like that. He is asking forgiveness from you. Amushya Atmanam. So please forgive him. So like that, Lord Vishnu is telling to Prthu Maharaj. Sudiya sadavo loke naradeva narottama nabidhruyati bhutebhyo yarhinatma kalevaram.
O king, one who is advanced in intelligence and eager to perform welfare activities for others is considered best amongst human beings. An advanced human being is never malicious to others. Those with advanced intelligence are always conscious that this material body is different from the soul.
So, in the previous verse, he stated what was the purpose of his coming there. So that Prthu will forgive Indra. The matter will settle. But for Prthu, the next 15 verses are specifically spoken to King Prthu. Not only for Prthu and for all of the devotees who are aspiring to attain perfection and go back to Godhead, for such kind of sadhakas, what should be their thought process while living in this material world when they encounter reversals? Should one tackle the reversal or should one focus on the path back to Godhead? So keeping that in mind, Lord Vishnu is talking these verses. They are apparently seems to be impractical in the sense, how can you give it up? Why can you forget everything just like that? One may ask question. But if you want justice here in this material world, fight for it. But if you want to enter in the spiritual world, do the needful. So something like that. We will see how the verses go ahead. O king, the most intelligent devotees, Sudiya Sadhavo Loke. In this material world, the sadhu, the devotee, consisting of Sudiya, the best form of intelligence. The best of humans, Narottama. The devotees who have best intelligence are called Narottamas. Do not harm other living beings because they know those bodies are not the souls. King Prthu got up for what purpose? For killing? Brahmanas are about to chant mantra for what purpose? Can anyone kill anyone? The entire Bhagavad Gita second chapter. A person with good intelligence should understand that no one can kill anyone. So what is the point of killing? For what purpose you want to put stop? What is good? This is the problem. There is no end to the material logic. That's what that still itself is stopping us in this material world. So, for the most intelligent devotees, the best of humans, do not harm other living beings because they know those bodies are not the soul. The best of the devotees know that the bodies are not the soul. The soul is entirely different. This is because the body is not the soul. How is it possible to be violent towards other living entities since one should not identify them as the bodies? So still here I'm Vinith Prabhu asking, how can we ignore that? We should fight for justice. We should make sure that good is happening, bad should not happen. We should punish, etc., etc. If it is supposed to be punished, if it is supposed to be corrected, it will be corrected by the will of the providence. But if one goes against the will of the providence, it will never be corrected. So in that way we should see.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, how to understand in the given situation what is the will of the providence?
For that also we need to have good intelligence. But try to understand. Here the discussion is happening between Lord Vishnu and Prthu Maharaj. The two most evolved beings. They are setting a ideal condition. It may not be valid under all circumstances. For a person in the mode of ignorance, they should be told that you are the culprit, you should be punished. For the person in the mode of passion should be told that this is adharma, this is dharma. But for the person in the ultimate state of mode of goodness, they know everything. They are supposed to be reminded of. Don't think that everything will be in your hand. Some things beyond your control also. All those things are done by Supreme Lord. Those things, even though you may want to control, you cannot control. Just witness what is going to happen, like something like that.
Okay.
So we need to see for whom we are telling this. Instruction, the principle may be same, but the instruction varies from person to person. Bhishma told Yudhishthir, you are not the cause of the massacre of the entire battlefield of Kurukshetra. Lord Krishna told Arjuna, you are not the killer, but kill. Still fight. You are not going to kill Bhishma, Drona, Pramukata, but fight. So, ordinary people will not understand what is happening here. Kya chal raha hai idhar? Only a person in the mode of pure goodness can understand these instructions. So that we need to see. So in that way. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Because I was thinking, even if sometimes some people ask us for advice, no, so if we should be clear by before telling somebody that what is the right thing in a particular situation. Thank you.
Yes.
We have to see according to the modes in which the
Yeah.
person.
Purushayadim. Okay. But identification with the body arises from illusion, which is created by the Lord's Maya. So Prthu questions. So my dear Lord, you are telling that no one is the body, but identification comes. It is by default, everyone has the identity. He thinks he's the Brahman, I think I am the king, somebody else will think something like that, or like that. Everyone has the identity, which is created by Lord's Maya only. How can we avoid that? Then Lord Vishnu says, Purushayadi muyyanti Vadrisha deva mayaya Shrama eva param jato Dhirgaya vruddha sevaya Atakayam imam vidvan Avidya kama karma bhi Arabda iti naivasmin Prati buddho nusajjate.
If a personality like you who are so much advanced because of executing the instructions of the previous acharyas is carried away by the influence of my material energy, then all your advancement may be considered simply a waste of time. Those who are in full knowledge of the bodily conception of life, who know that this body is composed of nescience, desires, and activities resulting from illusion, do not become addicted to the body.
So when Prthu said that, my dear Lord, but identity comes by Maya, Lord's Maya. So what's wrong in it? Lord says that the wrong is if you perform all the activities, even bhakti activities with that identity, they are futile, they are useless. Shramayave kevalam. Activities should not be performed with the material identity for spiritual emancipation, spiritual perfection. As long as one continues to perform activities with material identity, they are simply useless endeavor. One should give up that identity and perform activities. They will only award one spiritual perfection. Huh? We will discuss. If persons such as you, specifically Lord Vishnu is telling that, Yadi Twadrisha Purusha, people like you, if anybody, people who are on the stature of you, who is well educated, well learned, well understood, a religious king, are bewildered by Lord's Maya, that the only result is labor. Shremayeva paramjato. Even a person like you are supposed to be intelligent, supposed to know the distinction between the body and soul, not supposed to identify with the body, never ever. Still identifying with the body and performing activities on the bodily identification. All such activities may award you the material prosperity, material name and fame, material victory, but not spiritual liberation. So it's like that. Performing activity should have a purpose also. If activity is performed for the material dharmic accomplishment, that will be done. But for spiritual emancipation, there is a special way of performing the activities. So in that way. If a person such as you are bewildered by Lord's Maya, the only result is hard labor. Shramayavai Kevalam. What was that verse? Anybody remember Shramayavai Kevalam verse in the first canto, second chapter?
धर्मस्वनुष्ठिता पुंसां विश्वक्सेन कथासु
Na utpadayat yadiratim Shramayavai Kevalam. Dharma swa anushtita pumsha. According to one's varna and ashrama dharma, one is performing all the activities. But if the activities are not producing rati for Lord Vishnu, all those activities are simply a waste endeavor. Here, Prthu's completing 100 sacrifice, trying to kill Indra, by the way, creating so many religious sampradayas. Will that produce rati for Lord Vishnu? Then Shramayava is only. So in that way. King Prthu becoming angry at Indra and killing Indra, will that produce rati on Vishnu? So in that way. Apparently, from our point of view, what Indra is doing a wrong thing. He is interrupting the sacrifice. But Indra is acting under the supervision of the will of the providence. So those things we cannot understand. Just because we don't understand, we cannot say they don't have any existence. So sometimes we need to see the hand of God and then stop. No need to persist on the same thing. So in that way. Hare Krishna, devotees are able to follow?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Because these verses gives the same theme. Especially the Twadrishi word is very important. When a person who is in this stature, like in the mode of pure goodness and highly elevated devotees, they should not act on the bodily platform. Performing, not only for them, for anybody, performing activities on the bodily platform will not give any result from the spiritual upgradation point of view. They may award material results. They may bring one name, fame, prosperity, etc., etc. But spiritual elevation will not be possible with the activities when they are performed with bodily identification. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he says, Naham Vipro Nachanarapatir, Napi Vaishyo na Shudro, Naham Varni Nachakulapatir, Na Vanasto Yatirva, Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa. I am neither Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, not a Brahmachari, Gurastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. I am no one. I am simply a servant of the 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 gopis. That with that mood, when one performs all the devotional activities, that will award one entry into spiritual world. If one performs all the spiritual activities, seeing oneself, I am the king, I am this, I am that, Those activities will award the results of the varnashram duties only, not the results of bhakti. So in that way. So that is the point which Lord Vishnu wants to impress upon Prthu, also upon all of us who want to practice bhakti and attain perfection. So in that way. The man in knowledge, Vidwan, after realizing Pratibuddho, with good intelligence, with realized intelligence, that this body arises from actions due to desire arising from ignorance. How does a person gets a particular body? How does a person get Devata body or a human body or animal body? Karma. How does a person perform karma? How does the desire will come? Perfect. Kama, karma. Karma comes because of kama. Kama comes because of avidya. We develop independent desires because we don't know who we really are. Our original identity is Jiva Swarupa Krishna Das. That we forgotten. So we think we are so and so, we want to accomplish activities accordingly. That's why there is, because of avidya, there is kama. Because of that, there is karma. Because of karma, we are getting one after the other so many material bodies. So like that. The man in knowledge, after realizing that this body arises from actions due to desire, action due to material desire, arising due to ignorance of our true identity. This understanding should be there. And how does this understanding will come? By long service to the elders. Dirgaya Vruddha Sevaya. By serving the spiritual masters for a long time, one gets this understanding. When one gets this understanding, then the result is one is not attached to the body. Na eva asmin kayam anusajjate. One does not have any attraction to the bodily identification. That is only possible when two things happens. The first thing is serving the elderly personalities for a long time, then getting the realization that the material body comes because of karma. Karma is performed because of kama. Kama is attained because of avidya. That knowledge one will gain. So this is the philosophical intent behind that. If persons are so bewildered, all their endeavors are useless. Realization arises from removing Maya by service to the elders. Elders not only by age, elders from the point of view of spiritual progress. In all respects, those who are elder to us, in all respects, they should be served, they should be respected. That will give us both realization and detachment. So that is the understanding. The wise know that this body has arisen by actions out of desire through ignorance. When we serve them by their pleasure, we also get their realizations. That is called Krupa Siddhi. We'll get mercy from all these great sages. Hare Krishna, devotee is able to follow?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Now, Lord Vishnu further continues.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Prabhuji, just one thing I just wanted to ask here. When you are saying that we must serve the elderly, especially the spiritual master, or also those who have those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge than us. But in our day-to-day life, how do we do that? I mean, we are staying in a family and we are not apparently serving the spiritual master in one sense. Like we are following his instructions, but we are not serving. So
what do you mean by serving? First of all, what do you mean by serving?
So if you are saying that if it is following the instruction, then it's okay. But I don't know. Apparent service is like doing something for the spiritual master that we are not doing.
serving is not necessarily physical service always.
Okay.
That may not be possible for everyone.
Hmm.
Facilitating the physical service and following the instructions. That is called service. If one is not able to get the opportunity to serve the spiritual master directly, one can facilitate in the service of spiritual master indirectly. And then one should follow the instructions taught by spiritual master. See, our bhakti begins with Shravanam. Shravanam is the fundamental principle of our bhakti.
Yeah.
So doing Shravanam and applying it in our daily life is the most important service toward the spiritual master.
Okay. Okay.
So for us to do Shravanam or for somebody else to do Shravanam, one can facilitate the Shravanam of one and all. That is also another service.
Okay. At the
Oneself
most,
doing,
yeah. I'm sorry. You continue.
oneself doing Shravanam and applying and facilitating others Shravanam and application. That is a service towards spiritual master.
Okay. So to facilitate means we should share it with others. This is what you're saying.
We can share it with others to the extent that they will come to the lotus feet of spiritual master. By our sharing, everyone may not be transformed, but we should inspire them to come to the feet of spiritual master. That much we should do. And then spiritual master will take over.
Okay.
So in that way. There was one verse recently we were discussing during this Bhadra Purnima. In one of the days, some devotees invited me for one of the classes, the 7 days Bhagavad Gita. So I was elaborating on this verse. All of you remember, I just may help you remind that. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhakti Rutpaddate Pumsha Shoka Moha Vayavaha. So to that verse, in the commentary, Srila Vishnu Thakur talks about 4-level involvement of a devotee in the spiritual practices. The verse says that Yasyam Shruyamanayam, by hearing this Bhagavatam. This verse comes after the next verse after the compilation of Bhagavatam. For the benefit of people of Kali Yuga, Anartha Upasyanam Sakshat Bhakti Yoga Madhakshaja Loka Sajanato Vijdam Chakre Sashvat Samhitam. So for the benefit of all of us who do not know what is the real benefit to us, in order to help us understand that Srila Vyasdeva compiled Bhagavatam, which describes Bhakti. Whoever hears this Bhagavatam, Bhakti will manifest in their heart unto Lord Krishna and also removes Shoka Moha Bhaya. So that is the meaning of this verse. So in the commentary, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti says that just by hearing Bhagavatam, if prema arises, then think, if you facilitate somebody else's hearing, what else will appear? Just by hearing Bhagavatam, Krishna one will come to the platform of prema. Hearing Bhagavatam is like Ado Shraddha or Bhajana Kriya, we can say. One will come to the prema platform. But by bringing somebody else to hear Krishna Katha from the mouth of spiritual master, one gets double benefit. Because oneself is hearing and one is making somebody else to hear. So that person benefit and your benefit also will come. And then what benefit will come if one speaks Krishna Katha? Now what are we doing? We are speaking. One service is speaking. While speaking, we are hearing and somebody else also hearing. There are 3 things are happening. I am speaking, I am hearing, and third person also hearing. So we get triple benefit. And the 4th thing is that if one facilitates many people's hearing and somebody else is speaking, then how much more benefit one will get? So then I was explaining the meaning of this verse is that because this is a congregation program, keeping that in mind, I mentioned that. See, our program coordinators, they are taking out so much time. So actually I mentioned like this. For us to hear 1 hour Bhagavatam class, how much time we need to take out? 1 hour. If we have to
1 hour,
speak
yeah.
1 hour. If we have to bring somebody else for the 1 hour Bhagavatam class, how much time we have to spend? Vinith Prabhu says half an hour more. Is that enough?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It will take
Preparation
more
time.
time.
Yeah, the preparation and means to make that person enthusiastic to come to attend, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy.
Yeah, lot of time. Worst case, we can take 2 hours. 1 more hour. If that person is also kind of gentle person, he will not take too much time. So it takes at least 1 hour. We may have to make him a call, invite him, remind him. We may have to go to his place and from there come to temple or come to the satsang program. 2 hours. If we have to speak, then how much time it will take? If we have to speak for someone, how much time it will take for us?
Lot of time for preparation.
I mean, I said 1 more hour extra. 1 hour for preparation and 1 hour for that person to bring. Because the same thing we are just building upon one after the other. 1 hour extra for our preparation.
Only 1
Because we
hour.
have already heard. Because we have already heard, we are just rewinding whatever we have heard. We are just revising our notes. 1 hour extra
That's
time.
that's for you, Prabhu, not for us.
See, I'm giving an example, Mataji. Don't take
Yeah,
literally.
Understood.
Why? Because I said
Understood.
no, 1 time benefit, 2 time benefit, 3 time benefits. I'm just
Yeah.
correlating. 1 hour is 1 time benefit, 2 hours, 2 time benefit, 3 hours, 3 time benefits. Now,
Okay.
if you are coordinating a program, a weekly satsang program, how much time it will take? Here, Vinith Prabhu says 1 week.
1 day.
Approximately, how much time it can take? It is a weekly program, Prabhu. If 1 week is given to that, how will you go to office and how will you work and how will you do your livelihood?
At least a day, Prabhu, to prepare and invite and everything.
Only time only, or anything else is also involved in that?
Other energies or resources also, na?
Like, you tell everything. You tell. All of you are knowing. I mean, you go for programs. You understand what are
Prasadam arrangement for prasadam is there.
for
Also
arranging
the
prasadam.
place.
What are the things involved in that?
You require the menu. You require.
Huh?
First of
You
all,
are
somebody
you yourself
cooking.
are coordinating the program.
You're buying things for the making prashadam, who will make
If
or
you are preparing the prasadam, at your home, you need to go to market, purchase all the vegetables, ingredients, and to prepare at home. If you are giving it for catering, you need to give money. Okay, but money comes only when you go to office and work hard. How much money you may give for prasadam? Maybe 1 day salary, 2 days salary, 3 days salary. That means 2 days, 3 days, 2 or 3 full days are dedicated for prasadam. In addition to that, many other things also. You are giving your time, you are giving your energy, everything. So how many hours of time you are giving, that many times benefit one will get. Ye etamam
Hare Krishna
prapadyante
Prabhu,
tam staiva bhajamiham.
which verse is this? Vishnu Chakravarti. Which verse in Bhagavatam? I've read it, but I don't remember.
177, I think.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is like a preaching formula to inspire devotees to do preaching. So, in that way. These are not my words, but Chakravarti's words only said that I just connected to all these things. For us to go to class, we may have to spend some 50 rupees to come by train or to come by auto and 1 hour or 2 hours time, 1 hour traveling time. If we want to invite one more friend, we may have to spend 1 more hour extra and some more money extra. We are bringing in first time, we need to pay for his rickshaw charges also. And if we are speaking, so in addition to that, we need to spend some more time to prepare. If we are coordinating a program, lot of money, lot of time, lot of energy, lot of resources are getting involved. One will get the benefit also accordingly. Krishna gives the promise. Ye etamam prapadyante tam staiva bhajamiham. So that is the principle.
Great. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. You just kind of, initiated something in our mind, and now we'll have to think about it. But thank you.
it is not a big thing. Simple. The more we give, the more we get. The less we give, the less we get.
No, it's not just about giving. It's about, convincing. That's the toughest part. Giving is still okay. As per our capacity and ability, we might do it. Convincing is a task in Kali Yuga. We ourselves got convinced at the age of ripened age. So
That's what. If we are convinced, we can come forward to do all these things.
yeah,
Their conviction will take place by Paramatma. Paramatma will inspire them eventually. What we can do is all facilitating only. Bringing them close to spiritual master. That's what we can do. We cannot transform them completely. That is not in our hand.
Yeah, true.
What is there in our hand is just to facilitate. That is Dirgaya Uddasevaya.
Okay.
Following within our life and facilitating their service. So in that way.
Okay.
So in that facilitation comes taking care of the spiritual master also. If spiritual master is taken care properly, then only he can instruct, he can do the Krishna Katha.
Yeah.
So that is like wholesome package. If he simply taken care but not facilitated, not provided any opportunity where Krishna Katha can be spread, that is also not of it both should go on hand in hand. So in that way.
As in turn, also we can assist those who assist the spiritual master. That is also okay, right? Haribo.
Correction.
Okay.
Yes. We need to assist spiritual master and those who are assisting spiritual master. Everyone. So everything is the mission of the spiritual master only. As long as we don't have any independent agenda, everything is fine.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other devotees, any question? Could follow all the devotees? I don't know. This is my little understanding on this verse and it is that section of Bhagavatam.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, we'll take a couple of minutes break. Then we will continue with our discussion starting with 6 hours onwards. Correction. Hare Krishna, devotees are there?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we'll continue with the 6th verse. Asamsakta shariresmin amunotpadite grihe apatye dravine vapi kakuryan mamatam buddha.
How can a highly learned person who has absolutely no affinity for the bodily conception of life be affected by the bodily conception in regard to house, children, wealth, and similar other bodily productions?
So kindly see this. This one word we should be carefully understood. Highly learned person, highly wise person. Ka Buddha. What wise person unattached to this body will have attachment for house, children, and wealth arising from the body? Matlab, tell me. What wise person who is unattached to the body? A person is known as wise only if he is unattached to the body. Asamsakta. Asakta means attached. Anasakta means unattached. Asamsakta means completely unattached. Okay. How can a person who is completely unattached to one's own body can be attached to one's house, children, wealth, and other things connected to the body? So Prthu Maharaj might say that, oh, I am not identified with my body. I am not interested in my bodily enjoyment, etc. etc. Then Lord Vishnu says, how can a wise person who is unattached to one's own body can be unattached to others' bodies? The bodies of other is kinsmen, subjects, etc. Purpose? Let us see. He teaches knowledge of Paramatma caused by detachment for those absorbed in Atmagyan. Okay, that is about the next verse.
Hare
So
Krishna.
the underlying principle is, what is your purpose? When you do some activity, what is the purpose with which you are doing? That is the problem. We may be doing some activity for happiness. We may be doing some activity because it is our duty. We may be doing some activity for the happiness of for whom we are doing. These are all material calculations. Here, who is speaking to whom? Lord Vishnu is speaking to Prthu, treating him as a wise person. A wise person should not perform activities for the material happiness or for the material prosperity. Activities should be aimed at going back home, back to God only. They may involve in material happiness, they may not involve in material happiness. They may involve in material prosperity, they may not. But a wise person performs all the activities only for his spiritual purpose. Then only that person can be called as a wise person. Otherwise, what is the use of having so much material intelligence, which will increase one's bondage only?
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
But Prabhuji, Prthu was doing for the welfare of the people, isn't it? So the people will become more devotional and there will be prosperity.
And now, no. Wait. Welfare of the people only. But what welfare?
What welfare? So that they take up gradually, they follow Varnashram system and they elevate the consciousness.
Okay. Does the over prosperity is conducive to spiritual practices or detrimental to spiritual practices?
It is detrimental, but Prthu as a Vishnu, as a Hamsha of Lord, he knows how much sacrifice.
Prthu is a devotee, that is okay, but public, what about the citizens? Prosperity किसके लिए? Prthu के लिए or citizens के लिए?
Citizens के लिए.
Prthu is unattached to the body. But what about the citizens? Are they also unattached? Prthu as a king can only facilitate, but the practice has to be done by the individual. Prthu cannot practice for the citizens.
No, he was performing all these things for the people only, isn't it? So people will elevate their consciousness gradually by following his footsteps, isn't it?
That is true. But just by increasing one's comfort level and prosperity does not help one practice spiritual life.
Okay. Then why was he doing it?
As a matter of duty, he was doing. His
Okay.
intention was to engage everyone in the process of yajna. His intention was everyone to keep in everyone in religious activities. That is all good. But when something is going overboard.
Okay. Okay.
Pramushta Atishaya Indriya Ustava. There is a verse in the 5th canto. The Devatas are praying, the residents of heavenly planet, they are praying, they are glorifying Bharata Varsha. They say that even though there is opportunity for practicing bhakti in the heavenly planets, but the entire atmosphere is surcharged by overflowing opportunities for enjoyment. Pramushta Atishaya Indriya Ustava. Ustava is big festival. What festival? Indriya Ustava, the sense gratification festival. What kind of festival is that? Pramushta Atishaya. You can't even speak about it. You have to use Atishayokti. So something like that. Even though one may want to do bhakti, but in the midst of the overflowing opportunity for sense gratification, one will be deviated. That is the case with heaven. The same thing is happening in Prthu's kingdom also. The facilities are so much. So like that we should think of.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, like you mentioned in the beginning of discussion of this verse that who is speaking to whom? Like Lord is speaking to Prthu Maharaj. And I'm means from the beginning I started asking. First I saw who is this Lord only speaking these verses like. So means here the attachment to house, children, wealth has been used. The children means the all the praja of Prthu. In that sense, the children has been used here.
One's own children also and the praja also. Here, see, ka Buddha. Here, see, when you say ka Buddha means what can the person, even the previous Tvadrisha mentioned, an intelligent person like you. Of course, Lord Vishnu is speaking to Prthu and also is addressing all other people who are in the spiritual journey. These instructions are not only meant for example, Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verse number 22. What was that verse? Adi antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Ei sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yona evate adi antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person will not take part in sense gratificatory activities which have a beginning and end. Whom Lord Krishna is speaking to?
Arjuna.
No.
In Bhagavad Gita.
He is speaking to Arjuna as well as he is speaking to everyone else who want to go back home back to Godhead. Buddha means who had the determination to take up bhakti as one's own life and soul and perform all activities meant to take one back home back to Godhead. That kind of person is Buddha. For all such people, Lord Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is only via medium. If Krishna only spoke to Arjuna, why are we studying Bhagavad Gita, spending 2 years of Bhakti Shastri, valuable 2 years? If it is not meant for us, why are we reading that?
Yeah.
Same way here also, Tvadrisha Ka Buddha means anybody like you who is making all endeavor to go back home back to Godhead, who is making all efforts to practice one's own sadhana. all such intellectual people, one is already practicing sadhana, one is already called as Buddha, means he is already unattached to one's own body. But how can they are worried about the bodily concerns of other people? Prthu is not worried about his own body, but is making arrangements for others' bodies as a king. Worry about their atmas, na? Why body? You are worrying about your atma and you are facilitating their bodies. Is it not duplicitous? You know you are not the body, you are atma, and you are telling them to become attached to their bodies. Is it not duplicit?
But he is attaching them to yajna, like they will also be the part of yajna, and by that they will get the opportunity to serve the Lord.
See,
So,
to give them enough prosperity, not to worry about bodily maintenance, maybe 2-3 yajnas are sufficient. Why 100?
but if you only said now, Prabhuji, like you explained that he's doing it as a matter of duty and not for the per se for the prosperity or something. That
See,
maybe
that is fine. That is fine. See, when a person who is not even doing duty, he should be reminded of doing duty. When a person is already doing duty, he should be told, go beyond duty, perform duties out of love. There is the fourth stage also. Don't stop at the duty only. See, there is a progression. There is no like, okay, this is the end. Not like that. Doing duty is in the mode of goodness. Doing things out of love is in the mode of pure goodness.
yeah.
So that's why I said, who is speaking to whom? Lord Vishnu is speaking to King Prthu, or persons like King Prthu, who are determined to go back to Godhead. So their talk is not about material prosperity, material well-being, material happiness. Their prosperity is chalo, entry into Vaikuntha. That is their prosperity. That is their wealth. So in that way.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, in Bharat Maharaj sections in Canto 5, he performs all these sacrifices and all so that people follow in the footsteps and all this thing, though he's situated in the a transcendental platform. Like he's worshipping Vishnu. Isn't it? There's a portion where he says, he performs so that people are, induced to perform sacrifices and all those things.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not denying performing yajna. I'm saying that
overdoing it is bad.
So as a overdoing is not required. There, what did you do? Rishabhadev. Okay, take the example of Lord Rishabhadev. Lord Rishabhadev performed yajna, then he gave spiritual instructions to his children.
Sons, yeah.
And also the citizens. So that is what. Here till now, Prthu was only performing yajnas. After this, you will see in the next chapter, he will not perform yajna hereafter. He will instruct people how to live.
Okay,
what goal, what purpose they should lead their life. There's a great transformation in the next chapter. So it's like that. Need is there, but it's not overdo. King is responsible to take care of the prosperity and the maintenance of the people, do the needful. But the higher responsibility than prosperity is spiritual emancipation. So in that way. See, are you getting?
Yeah.
How will you have attachment for house, children, and wealth? House, children, and wealth is, I am telling it in terms of prosperity. Increasing the prosperity of the kingdom, the prosperity of the king, prosperity of the people, and everyone. The material prosperity I was talking about.
That is also seen as extended sense gratification.
You may see that is required, but that may not be over required. So from that point of view, I'm saying.
Prabhuji, I have one question. like it may not be completely relevant in this situation, but see, we are talking about here that one should do the required amount of thing, whatever is necessary to live the life peacefully and concentrate on the spiritual goal of the life for king or for his subjects, for anyone. But when we talk about that, if somebody has to become Indra, he must have performed hundreds Ashwamedha sacrifice. That means someone or the other will do that, so many things. So that also is seen as a part of like this, which is unrequired, or means how that is seen. Then for someone to become Indra, he will have to perform no 100 sacrifice.
Okay, but he already made up his mind to become Indra.
Okay, so
So
with that,
for that is a necessary qualification. One need to do it. That is the procedure recommended in the Vedic literature. One has to do it. There is no fault in that. But here Prthu is not performing 100 sacrifices to become Indra. He is only performing as a duty of a king.
okay.
One who wants to what you can say, one who wants to become IAS officer, something that need to prepare for groups. Not necessarily that everyone has to prepare for groups, because oh, you are also human being, you are also intelligent person, you need to not necessarily. Only those who want to go in that field, they only prepare in that way. Others no need to do.
Okay.
So like that you should see.
Okay, so the intention of doing particular thing has to be seen basically.
If everyone knew about it, this person is performing 100 yajnas to become Indra, so no one will disturb him.
Okay.
No one will say no to it.
Okay. Okay, thank
Prthu
you.
is performing to maintain dharma, but on the other contrary, adharma is spreading. I told it previously also, performing yajna is not a one day, half day activity. Like our Bhagavat yajna happened in the courtyard last time we discussed. It is an elaborate procedure. It would take sometimes years. A lot of time is being spent in that, not only for king, but every citizen in the kingdom. So now the question comes, then what should we do? If we are not supposed to work for the prosperity of the citizens of the kingdom, what we are supposed to do? Then Vishnu says that, Lord Vishnu says that, endeavor for Atmajnan. Utilize your time, energy, and everything, resources in the understanding of Atmajnan. Atato Brahma Jignasa. So somebody might question, what is Atmajnan? Atmajnan is the understanding of the difference between Atma and Paramatma. So, because he already understood the difference between body and Atma, because of which he became unattached to the body. Now he has to endeavor to understand the difference between Atma and Paramatma. So that is mentioned in the next verses. Eka Shuddha Swayam Jyotir Nirguno Sau Gunashraya Sarvagona Vrta Sakshi Niratma Atmana Param.
The individual soul is one, pure, non-material and self-effulgent. He is the reservoir of all good qualities and he is all-pervading. He is without material covering and he is the witness of all activities. He is completely distinguished from other living entities and he is transcendental to all embodied souls.
For a materialistic person, one need to have Atma Jnana, the distinction between Atma and body. As Lord Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter, one who already understood that, especially in the current case, in the case of Prthu Maharaj, who already know about it. So you need to be given, Prthu Maharaj means any person on that level, like that level. They need to understand the distinction between Atma and Paramatma. Though Prabhupada translates everything in terms of Atma, keeping all of us in mind. All of us who are studying Bhagavatam, we are still at the neophyte level. So for us, we need to understand the distinction between Atma and body. So how Atma is different from the body is being mentioned in the translation and purport, entire thing. And based on the discussion, what is going on here, the discussion is between Lord Vishnu and Prthu. or personality like Prthu, they need to understand the distinction between Atma and Paramatma. So how Atma and Paramatma are different? Though Atma is the Amsha of Paramatma, though it is supposed to be have same qualities, qualitatively one, quantitatively different. So that is indicated in this verse. So this verse talks about the 9 qualities of both Paramatma and Atma also. Also indicates the distinction between Atma and Paramatma. Both possess same qualities, but the quantity will be different. So that is indicated. The Paramatma is Shuddha, pure, self-revealing, Swayam Jyoti. Beyond the material gunas, Nirguna, the shelter of all the gunas, Asau Gunashraya, all pervading, Sarvaga, uncovered by matter, Anavruta, the witness of all things, Sakshi, independent of all others, Niratma, and different from the Jiva and his body, Atmana Paraha. If you remember Bhagavad Gita, all these terms were there in the Bhagavad Gita also. Sarvaga is there, Anavruta is there, Sakshi is there, Atmana Paraha is there, Niratma is there. Atmana Paraha is where? Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter. Bhumirapo Nalovayu Kamana Buddhirevacha Apareyam Itaswannam Prakrutim Vidyame Param. Param. Prakrutim Vidyame Param. Para Prakruti. Para Atma. So something like that. And Sakshi is also there. Oh, what was that verse? Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi. Nivasa Sharanam Suhrud. So all these words came at different places in Bhagavad Gita. So this verse simultaneously talks about the qualities of Atma and also the qualities of Paramatma. At the same time, show the difference between Atma and Paramatma. So like that we should see. The Paramatma is different from the body and the Jiva. You see here, Niratma, Atma, Atmana, Paraha. The first Atma stands for Paramatma. The second Atma stands for one's own body, mind, intelligence, senses, everything in that. And Paraha. Paramatma is superior to the individual Jivatmas or the body which cover the Jivatmas. It is entirely different. The Paramatma is one, whereas the Jivas and their bodies are unlimited in number. Again, 13th chapter. Kshetrajnan chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kindly know that I am also Kshetrajna, but situated in all the Kshetras. Every Kshetra has their individual Kshetrajna, but I am also Kshetrajna. I am one situated everywhere. So that is one. Paramatma is one, but the individual Atmas are many as that many bodies are there. So in that way. So both the bodies are many, Atmas are many, but Paramatma is one. That's why it is said Eka. The Jiva is impure without knowledge and covered by the gunas, whereas the Paramatma is pure with knowledge and without material gunas. In our conditioned state, we are covered by the 3 modes of material nature and we have become impure. But there is no covered state for Paramatma. Paramatma is always pure only. Whether Paramatma is there within our heart or outside our heart, Paramatma always remains pure. But as long as we are in the material covering, we are impure. Till we purify ourselves, we are impure. So this is the distinction with both body and Atma and Paramatma. Then, because he produces the gunas and is independent of them, he is the shelter of the gunas. Atma is the shelter of the body. That is there in the Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna means the knower of the body. The knower and the master of the body is called Atma. But Paramatma is the master of the gunas. Though our body is the byproduct of the 3 modes, but we are subservient of the 3 modes. But Paramatma never becomes subservient of the 3 modes. That's why. Instead, he is the master of the 3 gunas. The Jiva is not pervading everywhere, since he has a material body and conforms to it. At a given instant, Jiva is at one place only. Currently, I am here in the Gopal Fun School classroom. I cannot be everywhere. But Paramatma is in my heart, in Binit Prabhu's heart, in all of your hearts. He is everywhere. He is Sarvaga. From Bhagavad Gita point of view, Atma is Sarvaga means it goes into different places in different life forms. But at a given point of time, Paramatma is everywhere, but Jivatma is one place only. The Jiva is covered by house and other objects. The Jiva is not the witness because he is often unconscious and has clouded vision. Paramatma is witnessing all our activities. Though we are performing all activities, we are not witnessing them. The Jiva many times remains unconscious or indifferent to what's happening around us or with us. But Paramatma is always ever conscious, awake. So in that way. The Jiva is a small conscious entity dependent on Paramatma, whereas the Paramatma is the greatest conscious entity and independent of the Jivatma, Anu and Vibhu. Thus, 9 qualities distinguish the Paramatma from the Jivatma and his body. By this statement as well, 9 differences between the Jiva and the body are shown. The 9 distinctions between the Jivatma and the body, Paramatma and Jivatma, are established in this one verse. So one should be focusing on this particular aspect of Atma Jnana. So like that Lord Vishnu is telling. After performing yajna, in order to facilitate their needs, then one should focus on Atma Jnana for the spiritual perfection. No need to increase the comforts of the body more and more. So like that Lord Vishnu is indicating here. Of course, it is not only for Lord Vishnu, not only for Prthu Maharaj, anyone who wants to perfect their spiritual life. So in that way. Hare Krishna, able to follow?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, one thing I have difficulty in understanding that in the 7th verse translation, the first line it says the individual soul. So that individual soul is meant for the Paramatma, like because the other qualities what has been mentioned further are all belonging to the Lord, the Supreme Being.
No, not like that. I mentioned there are 2 differences are mentioned. The distinction between the body and Atma as it is indicated in Bhagavad Gita. That explanation Srila Prabhupada gives in the verse and purport. Here, we are also discussing according to our constant context of discussion that is happening between Lord Vishnu and Prthu Maharaj. Why do they need to discuss the distinction between the body and Atma now? That is not required. They are already evolved people. So now they are discussing the distinction between Atma and Paramatma. This one verse simultaneously talks about the 9 differences between Paramatma and Atma, as well Atma and body. So in that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Ya evam santam atmanam atmastam veda purusha najyate prakrutistopi tadgunaisa maistita.
Although within the material nature, one who is thus situated in full knowledge of the Paramatma and Atma is never affected by the modes of material nature, for he is always situated in my transcendental loving service.
What is the result of such kind of Atma Jnana and Paramatma Jnana? That is indicated here. The person who knows the Paramatma, Veda Atmanam, Ya Purusha Veda Atmanam, situated in the self, Brahma Bhuta state, situated in the self, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, Na Sochiti Nakakshati. Though situated in the body, Prakriti Stopi, Jivan Mukta, even though situated in the body, he is not affected by the gunas of the body, since he is situated in me. Mat Parayana. Having understood what is Paramatma, what is Jivatma, having taken shelter of Paramatma, having situated in Brahmabhuta platform, one is not at all bewildered by the bodily activities. This is mentioned both in 5th chapter, 6th chapter, and also second chapter also. Even 14th chapter also it is mentioned. Prabhupada quotes, Mamchayo avibhicharena bhakti yoga sevate samguna samaditetan brahmavaya sevate. By engaging in avibhicharani bhakti, unallied devotional service, one can overcome the influence of three modes. Even though one is situated in body, in one's body, one is not at all affected by the bodily allurements. One remains a witness to the bodily activities. That is mentioned in the 5th chapter. One sees that the mouth is eating, the eyes are seeing, the hands are moving, nose is smelling, and Atma remains witness. Atma is only observing all the activity that is happening by the body. That will be the situation. When a person is situated in me, that means in Krishna conscious state, in complete perfection. Even though while living in body, he is already Jivan Mukta Sauchate. He is already liberated while living here only. That will be the result of attaining Paramatma Jnana. Paramatma means out of context Paramatma, but basically knowledge about Bhagavan in that sense. Though he is situated in the body, he is not affected by the gunas of the body. He is not situated in the body at all. He is called as Jivan Mukta. He is already Jivan Mukta platform. So that will, this is like gradual progression. For that one need to endeavor. So like that Lord Vishnu is saying. Then how should we engage our varnashram? How should we perform our varnashram duties? So a question might come. Should I perform my kingly duties or not? Or simply meditate on Paramatma? One might question that. Then Lord Vishnu says, Yasvadarmena mam nityam nirashi shraddhayanvita bhajate shanakai tasya manorajan prasidati.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, continued, My dear King Prthu, when one is situated in his occupational duty, engages in my loving service without motive for material gain, he gradually becomes very satisfied within.
Yeah. O King, one who without material desire, ya nirashi, no material desire, worships me regularly with faith through his duties, Swadharmena, gradually develops a satisfied mind. Mana prasidati. The mind becomes satisfied not by more and more prosperity, but by performing all the activities for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Ata pumbir dvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagasha swa anushtitasya dharmasya samsiddhim haritoshanam. Haritoshanam. When one performs all one's varna and ashrama duties as a loving service unto Supreme Lord, that will please Lord Hari. When Hari is pleased, Paramatma is pleased. When Paramatma is pleased, then Atma is also pleased. Atma is pleased only when Paramatma is pleased, not when the body is pleased. Paramatma is not pleased. So one understanding is that generally we perform activities so that our mind becomes happy, our intelligence becomes happy, our ego becomes happy, our body becomes happy, our tongue becomes happy. We want to eat releasable items so that our tongue becomes happy. We want to smell some nice fragrance items so that our nostril becomes happy. We want to see some beautiful sceneries so that our eyes becomes happy. Certainly they will become happy, but Atma will not become happy. Atma will become happy only when Paramatma is happy. Paramatma becomes happy only when Bhagavan becomes happy. Bhagavan becomes happy only when we perform devotional activities. Without selfish desire. That is, without material desire. Ata pumbir dvesheshta varnashrama vibhagasha swanushtas dharmasya samsiddhim haritoshanam. So this is the principle. Even the same thing is mentioned in the beginning also, na? Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ayatukam. That Vairagya, this Nirashisha, will be possible only when we perform Vasudeva Bhagavati. Bhakti Yoga unto Vasudeva Bhagavati. So, I mean, this is the spiritual formula. I am just repeating, not that I am doing it. I am also same. I am much lower than anyone else. So, it's like that. Having realized above the above knowledge, one then endeavors by Bhakti Mishra Jnana, Swadharmena. That means basically one performs all one's Varna and Ashrama duties imbued with Bhakti as an offering to Supreme Lord. As a result of that, Supreme Lord will be satisfied, then Atma becomes satisfied. If Atma is satisfied, then all the faculties in the body, the mind, the intelligence, ego, senses, everything will become automatically satisfied. So it is actually a deductive process. It cannot be ascending process. It is a descending process. If Paramatma is satisfied, everything else is satisfied. It means to stay, Jagat to stay. So it's like that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Why it is called Bhakti Mishra Jnana? That means Bhagavan realization is not there. It is only till Paramatma realization.
No, not from that point of view. It is mentioned like that from the point of view of Sadharma, Varnashrama duties. Because Varnashrama duties are coming. So Chakravarti says that Bhakti Mishra Jnana.
Okay.
In that way. Because nectar of devotion for devotees, for the complete dedicated devotees, Varnashrama duties are secondary. In the sense, not that they should not perform, but the dedication with which one performs is secondary. The devotees are primarily dedicated to satisfying Lord Vishnu by performing bhakti activities, not by Varnashrama duties. But here, the discussion is between a king. Prthu is not only a devotee, he is also a king who is supposed to facilitate the society in general. So from that point of view, Varnashrama duties are mentioned. Even the next chapter is also completely dedicated for Varnashrama duties only. If you remember in the third canto, I don't know, you are not there, but we were discussing. Third canto talks about bhakti in 3 modes and also in transcendence. Bhakti in the mode of ignorance,
philosophy, na?
bhakti in the mode of passion, bhakti in the mode of goodness, and bhakti in pure goodness. So Prthu Maharaj is an example of bhakti in the mode of goodness. Not that Prthu himself is a devotee in the mode of goodness, but his activities are like a devotee in the mode of goodness.
Okay.
Because as a king, he is trying to facilitate the mode of goodness all around so that people perform their Varnashram duties as an offering to Supreme Lord. The next chapter, all his instructions are also taken in the direction only.
Varnashram duties. Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
So, in that way, we should see this. Parityakta gunasamyak dharshano vishadashaya shantim me samavastanam brahma kaivalyam ashnute.
When the heart is cleansed of all material contamination, the devotee's mind becomes broader and transparent, and he can see things equally. At that stage of life, there is peace, and one is situated equally with me as Sachidananda Vigraha.
When one performs all the Varnashrama duties, always thinking of the Supreme Lord or Paramatma with complete faith, then Paramatma is satisfied, Atma is satisfied, the mind is satisfied. When the mind is satisfied, when mind becomes peaceful, no more material hankering. Then what happens? Being devoid of the influence of the gunas, that kind of mind is not at all disturbed by 3 modes of material nature. Then one can see the things in their proper perspective, seeing correctly. Samyak darshana. Only a peaceful person can see things in their proper perspective, not an angry person. With pure mind, vishadashaya, with pure subtle body, One attains peace. Shantim Ashnute. What was the verse? Chapter 5, last verse, Bhagavad Gita. Pura bato. Loud. Shanti means? Same thing here. He attains peace means he attains liberation. A position of non-difference called Brahman or Kaivalya. Brahma Kaivalyam. For the Varnashrama practitioners, as mentioned the previous Brahma Mishra Jnanis, Bhakti Mishra Jnanis, they attain Sahajya Mukti. For the devotees, they go ahead into Vaikuntha and they attain other forms of liberation, Sarishti, Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, etc. So in that way.
So here Mayavadi, this thing is encouraged, isn't it? That means when
No,
the
Mayavad Mataji, where is Mayavada? Not Mayavada, Brahmavada.
No, Mayavadis, they say they want to merge into this thing, isn't it?
It is not merging. Where is the merging concept coming?
What is the Mayavadi impersonal liberation means?
We are not talking about Mayavad. There is no liberation for impersonalists. There is no liberation for Mayavadis. See, when a person enters into Vaikuntha, what happens to them? What they do actually, entering into Vaikuntha means?
Yeah, they have Dasya Bhav and they worship the Lord.
No, not Bhav. Entering into Mumbai means what?
Entering into Mumbai means you're reaching Mumbai.
And then you stay somewhere.
Yeah.
You get a accommodation to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
You get a occupation to perform your duties.
Yeah.
So entering into Vaikuntha means you go to Vaikuntha, you get a palace, you stay there, you get to glorify the Lord, serve the Lord, whatever way, according to once it's there. Okay. Similarly, entering into Brahman means they get to go to Brahman and they get to perform meditation there.
Okay.
The activity in Brahman is meditation. That is Brahma Kaivalya.
Okay.
Just like once entry into Vaikuntha is there, once entry into Brahman is also there. They never lose their identity. They remain there, executing meditation in neutrality as Shantarasa. Because they don't want to serve the Lord in any capacity, directly or indirectly. So they want to stay away from.
You said Sahajya Mukti. Sahajya Mukti is different from Shantarasa, na?
There is one Shantarasa in Vaikuntha. That is also there is neutrality. That kind of indicates about indirect service, like becoming plants or becoming grasses and becoming mountain, all these things.
Okay.
And this is also Shantarasa.
Okay, but Sahajya
This is called
Mukti you mentioned.
Shantarati.
Sahajya Mukti you had said before.
Sahajya Mukti is also Shantarati, Mataji.
Acha, okay.
That is also Shantarati only. Shantara means neutrality. They don't have any desire to serve the Lord directly or indirectly. So in Shantarati, there are two gradations you can take. Indirect service and no service. In Vaikuntha, Shantarasa, indirect service. In Brahman, Shantarasa, no service. See, all of us heard so many times about Brahman means they'll fall down, no merging into Brahman, no entry into Brahman, no one stays in Brahman. So this is like we have heard thousands of times always. Yes or no? Mataji, I'm asking you only.
No, there are so many versions of so many these things, Prabhuji. That's why there's no clear concept of what is Sahajya, what is Brahman, what is merging, what is
See,
it's a lot of.
The problem is Srila Prabhupada always talks about whenever the impersonal concept comes, he always takes the Mayavada into discussion.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada did not talk about Brahmavada concept at all anywhere. He made things black and white only. Either Bhakti or Mayavada.
Okay.
There is nothing in between. So that's where the confusion arises.
Okay.
The people who are dedicatedly performing Varnashrama duties, eventually taking up Jnana or Ashtanga Yoga, they attain Sahajya. That is also as bona fide as Salokya, Sarishti, Samupya and Sarupya. But the Mayavadis, without any element of bhakti. They just want to practice dry jnana or dry yoga with an intention to attain moksha. But that is never possible. They will never ever attain moksha. Then what to speak of falling down from Brahman?
This you're talking about that Aruya Krichena Param Padam ka was ka this explanation where they'll fall down.
Not only that verse, there are many other places also it is mentioned about this.
Okay. Okay.
Even in teachings of Lord Kapil also we discussed about it.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, does that example of a green bird which enters the tree, it never, although it appears to have merged into the tree, it remains separate. There is an example.
Yes.
Does it apply to this, the soul entering the Brahman?
Yes. The same example applies. Even it is talked about another example also. The fishes in the river, when the river enters into ocean, the fish also enters into ocean, but it remains individual. It will never lose its identity.
Okay.
So even when these Brahmavadis enter into Brahman, they remain intact. They do not lose their identity. But since they do not want to serve the Lord in person, so they are allowed to continue meditation. So that is what they continue to do meditation in the Brahman platform after entering into Brahma Jyoti.
Thank you.
Just like Vaikuntha is an abode, one second. Just like Vaikuntha is an abode, Brahman is also an abode. Tad Dhamma Paramam Mama. That Brahman is Lord's Dhamma. That is also one of the multiple Dhammas of the Supreme Lord. Param Dhamma.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, from what you explained, that means those who are having Mayavadi conception, if they reach the Brahma Jyoti, because of their absence of bhakti, they fall down, and in that sense,
No. Mayavadis never ever reach Brahman. Mayavadis never ever reach Brahman. Then there is no concept of fall down only.
Okay.
Only Brahmavadis attain Sayujya Mukti.
Okay.
Just like devotees attain Vaikuntha Mukti, Brahmavadis attain Sayujya Mukti. Both are bona fide. Yat gatva na nivartante taddama parama mama. Taddama stands for Tat Dhamma. Tat means Brahman. The abode of Brahman having reached, one never comes back.
But then why at various places in scriptures it is always Sayujya Mukti is looked down upon than the other Muktis?
That's what I'm saying. The mood of the Acharyas is to criticize. There are two aspects. The negative mood of Acharyas is to criticize Mayavada. The positive mood of the Acharyas is encourage Seva, encourage direct service of the Lord. So this Brahmavada concept is lying in between. It is neither connected to Seva nor connected to Mayavada. So it is not talked about so much. Our Vaishnava movement is not about becoming neutral. It is all about engaging in service always. Yes or no?
Yes.
Especially in the Gaudiya Vaishnava, that comes to serving in the mood of gopis. That is the highest form of service. Then why would any of the acharyas would talk about neutrality? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood is Gopi Bhartur Padakamalyor Das Dasanudas. In Shungar Rasa want to serve. So वहां से neutrality कितना दूर है?
Yeah.
अभी neutrality से मायावत और कितना दूर? 100, 0, -100.
Okay. Okay.
So they talk about +100, criticize -100. So there is no discussion about 0.
Okay. Very nicely explained, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. But then
So
where do the Mayavadis go?
So this is the mood of our acharyas, especially starting from Bhaktivinoda Tagore. Because after Baldev Vidyabhushan, the acharyas are not so popular. There are many other Vaishnavacharyas in between, but they are not so popular to spread the philosophy so much. So in between, so many apasampradayas came out. That's when Bhaktivinoda Tagore appeared. He had a big task of again rejuvenating the Vaishnava philosophy. And the both of them, he and his son, took the task upon themselves to cut the Mayavada philosophy and cut all these apasampradayas. So their all endeavor went in the direction only. But all the previous acharyas gave commentaries on all these different aspects. They talked about all these different things. Because during their time, there was no apasampradaya concept. That time, everything is straightforward. So in that way.
Prabhuji, what is the destination of Mayavadis then?
No destination. They'll be moving around here only. Mayavadi, Krishna, Aparadi. So we discussed about it very elaborately in the Bhagavad Gita. 18th chapter, text number 54 and 55. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktin labate param. Those people who perform varnashrama duties as a grostha with the purification of the heart, freed of all the material desire, they become qualified to practice jnana. Then they practice jnana sufficiently, Bhakti Mishra jnana, as it is mentioned here. Then they become thoroughly knowledgeable about Paramatma and Atma, all the aspects of absolute truth. Then they are thoroughly detached. Then they practice Ashtanga Yoga in order to give up the body instantly, not to continue their life in the material world. Taking shelter of Ashtanga Yoga, they raise the prana all the way up to Brahmarandra, they give up the body. Then they come to the platform of Samadhi. By the practicing of Jnana, they come to platform Brahmabhuta platform. By the practicing of Ashtanga Yoga, they come to the platform of Samadhi. What will be the state of one who reached Samadhi? Brahmabhuta Prasannatma. Now he identifies only with his body. Thus he experiences complete happiness. Prasanna Atma. He identifies only with the Atma, not with the body. Sorry. So now for the first time in his life, he experiences true happiness. Till now, you are experiencing only contaminated happiness through the body, mind, senses, etc. Now, Atma Ananda, he will experience the happiness of the Atma. Then, na sochati, na kankshati. He does not worry about everything that belongs to the body. Na sochati, na kankshati. He does not want anything in this material world. And samas sarveshu bhuteshu. He sees every living entity as Atma only. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane, Gavi Asini, Sunicheva Svakecha, Pandita Samadarshana. He only sees the Atmas everywhere. He does not see the external covering. Because he himself is not seeing his own covering. So he will not see others covering also. Then this person has to give up his Jnana practice and Ashtanga Yoga practice. Practicing Ashtanga Yoga is to come to Samadhi. Practicing Jnana is to come to Jivan Mukta platform. After coming there, no need to practice Jnana or Ashtanga Yoga. Then what remains is Bhakti only. Till now, there is little Bhakti in his regular practices. Now that one Bhakti remains. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. Now this Jivan Mukta Jiva practices that Bhakti. Then what happens? Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. By that practice of Bhakti, he will know completely. What is that? Yavan Yas Chatmi Tatvataha. Tatvataha he will know. About whom? Tato Mam Tatvato Gnatva. Tato Mam. Tat refers to understanding about Brahman. Mam refers to understanding about Bhagavan. According to their inclination. Those who want to enter into Brahman, they will understand about Brahman completely. Those who want to enter into Vaikuntha, they will understand about Lord Visnu completely. Tato Mam Tatvato Gnatva. Tatvataha they will know. Vishate Tadantaram. Then they will enter either into Brahman or into Vaikuntha according to their desire. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoti evati tatvataha taktva deha punarjanma naiti mam eti so Arjuna. So it is like that. That is the procedure indicated for the Brahmavadis. So they have both the options, either enter into Brahman or enter into Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, because they do not have desire to directly serve the Lord, they will get Sarishti or Salokya only, not Samipya or Sarupya. The Samipya and Sarupya people are given opportunity to serve the Lord directly. The Sarokya and Sarishti either in neutrality or maybe indirect service, opportunity for serving, facilitating the service of the Lord indirectly. So in that way. So that is the understanding.
Prabhuji, Salokya and Sarishti, such people get?
Yes, Salokya or Sarishti, staying in Vaikuntha abode and having the same opulence of Lord Vishnu.
Okay.
The example we can see is that if entire Mumbai is like Vaikuntha, Samipya or Sarupya is like staying very Salokya, not Salokya. Sarupya means staying in the same house of Lord Vishnu. Sarupya, having the same form of Lord Vishnu in the very close family, close proximity, in the same family like that, in the same palace. And Samipya means the neighborhood surrounding the palace of Lord Vishnu. These two people will have great opportunity of personal service of Lord Vishnu. And Salokya means same Vaikuntha abode. So one living in suburban area. The Kalyan, Virar, they are also in Mumbai only, but far distant. So they will not have so many opportunities to serve the Lord personally, regularly. If they want, if at all they want to serve the Lord, they have to come to the palace of Lord Vishnu, all the way traveling from Virar or Kalyan to here. And that too, they may make it once in a week or once in a month or something like that. May not be every day, morning to evening, every instant. So that is like Sarishti or in Sarishti also same thing. They also have a bungalow in Mumbai only, but in suburban area. Like Mumbai bungalow, Mumbai typical bungalow, something like that. And Sayuja is for those who don't want to serve directly or indirectly. They want to stay little away from Vaikuntha. That is the surrounding area of Bombay, the entire forest and mountain area, where there is no palace, there is no electricity, there is no water supply. In the forest, living underneath a tree. As the example Mataji gave that a bird entering into a tree becomes the tree. So no one knows that they are existing also. No one worried about their presence in the forest. This is the example, living in the forest surrounding Mumbai, between Mumbai Pune.
So the Prabhuji, so the difference between Mayavadis and Brahmavadis is their concept of the Paramatma, and
No. The
also
difference between Mayavadi and Brahmavadi is the Brahmavadis do accept the three states of absolute truth, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaneti. They understand, they worship, they respect all the three forms of the absolute truth. But somehow they developed special affinity towards Brahman, so they want to be in Brahman. They want to be with the Brahman. Just like devotees want to be with the Lord, the Brahmavadis want to be with the Brahman. But unfortunately, Mayavadis say that even Paramatma and Bhagavan also Maya. The Mayavadis literally they say Paramatma and Bhagavan both are Maya only.
okay.
Only Brahman is eternal reality. And that Brahman is me. They go to the extent saying that Brahman is me only. But Brahmavadis never ever say that. Brahmavadis, they know the distinction between Atma and Paramatma, Atma and body, but they developed affinity towards Brahman. That's all.
So they don't accept Krishna's body as transcendental. They accept it as product of material nature. Is that also one of the reasons?
No, they don't even accept as material. They say it is Maya only.
Oh.
Mayavadis say whether it is human body or animal body, the body of Krishna or the body of the entire universe, everything is Maya. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The entire Jagat consisting everything within Jagat, all of our bodies and all of the avatars which appear in the material world, everything is Mithya only.
Okay.
And the concept of Paramatma, they say Mithya only. They say Atma and Brahman both are one only. Out of illusion, we are identifying ourselves as independent, but we are actually Brahman. Aham Brahmosmi. Tattvamasi. Soham Asmi.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their concept.
So the world is Maya, and therefore when the Lord is also Maya, who comes there.
Lord is also Maya means the Lord's form, Bhagavan form.
Form is Maya.
Whoever has form is also Maya.
Okay.
That's
Thank
what
you.
the Mayavada philosopher say that Bhagavad Gita is not spoken by Krishna. The unborn within a personality called Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Who is he? He is Nirakar, Nirvishesh. We cannot talk about him. We cannot tell about him, anything about him. He has no birth. Krishna has birth and Krishna also has death. How can he be absolute truth? So they are pretty clear about their philosophy. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, and that is very much convincing also. Convincing. In the last class we discussed the heretics created by Indra. They are expert at convincing others through logic and reasoning. So in that way.
Thank you very much.
Because we don't discuss this concept of Brahmavadis so much in our regular discussions, but we discussed in our Bhakti Shastri and from the very beginning of Bhakti Vaibhav also. Our devotees, they knew it. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow with the 11th verse onwards. So 1.5 verses describe the result of this practice. He attains Shanti or peace or liberation. It is my general state without differences. That is also called Brahman or Kaivalya. So these people attain Brahma Sayuja. So in that way. So that is the understanding. Okay, you can read through these verses, what we discussed till tomorrow class time, then we can discuss further. Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.